It probably will. I've done this before. Be quiet. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about point of view in narration with Stand By Me, directed by Rob Reiner, and the point of view of the narrator in The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. And I will suggest that there are three ways that the narration works in both texts. One is that the narration makes the connection between the audience and the text itself more effective. So it's a way of connecting with the audience more. I'm also going to suggest that because the main characters, you okay there, son? Because the main characters are so driven by their inner compulsions is a great word, I am on fire. They're so driven by their inner compulsions that the narrative voice really emphasizes that. I will suggest there's a distinction in the narration between The Catcher in the Rye, which has an unreliable narrator, and Stand By Me, which, from what we can tell, has a reliable narrator. I'll be suggesting that actually, because Stand By Me, at the end of it, the narrator himself has sort of had the support of his friends. He's more reliant on himself and others, and therefore the reliable narration sort of reinforces that idea. But in The Catcher in the Rye, Holden, even though he may have had a breakthrough by the end of the text, he still isn't completely reliable himself as a person. He doesn't rely on himself or can't trust himself, and we cannot rely on him either. So first of all, having a narrator in both texts helps the audience connect to the story. Because the narrator is addressing us in a very friendly way, as if we were listening to them speak to us, we feel like closer to them. We feel closer to the narrator. For example, Holden constantly talks to us and says things like, you would really like my sister, Phoebe. You really would. And that creates a sense of connection between the audience and the character. In the same way, although Gordy might not, the voiceover of Gordy, the narrator, might not actually address us directly, he's telling us deeply personal things, such as his relationship with his dad. He says, I had been the invisible member of our family. That's a really hurt and wounded thing to say, right? So the fact that the narrator is talking to us and sharing with us deep inner feelings about relationships in both texts makes us feel connected to the character. And what that does is we therefore care about the character and we want to know what happens to them. We care about them. When they are placed in danger or stress, such as when Maurice is thumping Holden for not paying up, or whether Ace is having a confrontation with Gordy, when they're under those sort of stressful situations, we care. And we want to see them succeed and have a breakthrough. Both Holden and Gordy are carrying these burdens. And because we care about them, partly because the narrator is talking to us as if we were friends of his, because we care about them, it involves us in their struggles. It involves us in their struggles to sort of grow up and deal with their loss and break through. Another aspect of this is that both texts are retrospective, are told retrospectively. So the narrators are telling us something that happened some time ago. In the case of The Catcher in the Rye, this is all told after 1 year. And in the case of Stand By Me, it's told after many, many years. And because as humans we often look back on things and have memories, we feel certain things are nostalgic or Natsukashi, and we share that experience. We can share that with the audience as well. The characters Gordy and Holden have these real problems that drive them on. Both of them stem from horrible experiences they've had with loss of family members, specifically brothers. Gordy's older brother Denny died in a jet accident, and Holden's younger brother Ali passed away from leukemia. And neither of the characters have been able to deal with this. As I've mentioned earlier, we are invested in these characters. We want to see what happens to them. In the case of Holden, because it's first-person narration, we can hear the deeper things that are going on in his mind and in his heart in regards to his loss. And that makes his problems of not having dealt with loss all the more compelling for us. In the case of Stand By Me, although the actor who plays Gordy, whose name is Will Wheaton, is a very good actor, just if the camera was just showing his sadness, we might not fully connect with how sad he really felt. Or if the character is just explaining how he feels, which he does when he says things like, "I never cried at Denny's funeral," we can certainly see that he was really struggling. But when the narrator, who is an inner voice, tells us the deep things about how he's feeling about the loss of his brother, but particularly the problem of his relationship with his dad and how his father doesn't like him, that just reinforces it for us. The inner voice talking directly to us shows us the hurt and the heartache and the need to deal with death that is driving them on, that is compelling them, their inner compulsions. There's a big difference, though, between Holden Caulfield and Gordy. Holden's narration is definitely unaware. He doesn't know that he is struggling as much as he is. For example, when he's with Sally Hayes and shouting at her and she's crying and telling him to calm down, or when he's with Carl Luce asking deeply personal questions about Carl Luce's sex life and Carl Luce is telling him to sit down and just have a normal conversation, we are aware that Holden is not telling us the whole story about himself because he doesn't know. Maybe because he's only 1 year after the event and he can't look back with great wisdom on what was happening. But also because Holden can't rely on himself. He's not strong enough. And he doesn't seem to have anyone he can rely on. In some ways, Holden's lack of anyone to rely on, other than maybe Phoebe, contributes to him being an unreliable narrator. He's not sure about anything, so why would we be sure in what we hear from him? On the other hand, Gordy, when he's the voiceover of Gordy speaks, it's kind of wise. It's not lacking in any understanding of the situation. It seems very calm and thoughtful. The voice is the actor Richard Dreyfuss, who's got a strong, steady voice. He's speaking as an adult looking back, and we trust that narration. But another reason why we might trust that narration is that Gordy himself can trust himself because of the friendship he has with the friends who stand by him. Chris has told him, "You're a writer. You're going to be a great writer one day." So Gordy's confidence has been built up and strengthened, and the confidence of his narration, even though it's many years later, kind of reflects the confidence he can have in himself because he has, because he's been so well supported. Holden can't rely on himself, and we can't rely on him as a narrator. Gordy can rely on himself because he's been built up, so we can rely on him as a narrator. I think there's a parallel. So both of these texts are very compelling in many ways, but I think one of the reasons why these texts, Stand By Me and The Catcher in the Rye, really connect to us so effectively is because of how well the people who've created these texts have used the device of having a narrator. Thank you very much.